Good evening, students. This is Professor Estrada with your Week 5 video lecture. I'm going to go ahead and start on the home page. This is our home page that we start off with the course. Again, on the left side, I always have recap announcements in case you ever need it. It's there for you to look at due dates, anything that has been changed, or just recaps for the week. We also have right here on the right side tab my contact information. I can always be found at aestrada@hillcollege.edu. When you are contacting me, make sure that you are using your student account of Hill College to mine. Oftentimes, if you are sending through Yahoo, Outlook, however, in other ways like Hotmail, I don't get them and they end up going to my spam folder. And then one thing that I will reiterate, again, this week before I even start off in the content is there is always this work to do, and the calendar, they're great. You can click on them and they take you right to the content for the week. However, without prior knowledge of the course or the content or the weekly folder, they just go in without that. They oftentimes will give you the extended due date. So our course runs through Sunday morning, 8 o'clock through about a Sunday night. Monday morning, 8 o'clock through about a Sunday night, 11:59. I tend to open up the weekly folders early for you to continue. But these often tell you that after every late day, I afford you the ability to turn it up to 4 days late with every day a deduction of 25 points. This is where you may see different deadlines for these. Oftentimes, these deadlines do not coincide with the syllabus, so always pay attention to the syllabus. Oftentimes, if you're just clicking on them just to click on them, they don't give you background on why we have them. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the content folder. This folder will often tell you where to find things. I'm going to go ahead and scroll to the Week 5 folder, Part 1. We're also in this video going to be looking at Week 5, Part 2. It's already open for you. I opened it yesterday, February 12th. So if you're watching this, I did open up the folders. You're just not being able to look at this video as I'm creating it in real time. So when I click on the folder, everything is available for you, whether it's a PDF, it's instructions, or the assignments themselves. They often have to be clicked on for you to find them. But in the Week 5 folder, we have the Week 5 lecture slides. We also are going to be introduced to Essay 2, which is the argumentative essay instructions. We also have its sample outline. Now, the sample outline is just for you to help create your essays based off of paragraphs and suggestions made for them. You never have to follow it unless you need it. We also have discussion board number 4, weekly prompt journal number 7, and online quiz number 4, editing and revision. I also included on here the word count link. It does help you if you need to use it to count your words for your discussion boards. And then we have its due date, which is Sunday, February 22nd. And then it just says, while the calendar or the home page tells you a different day, always refer to the syllabus day. And don't worry, Essay 2 is not due anytime this week. It's not going to be found until the later half of Week 7 or going into Week 8. So let's go ahead and start with the Week 5 lecture slides, Day 1. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out because I'm actually recording this from my office. So we have our slides for Week 5, Day 1. I'm just scrolling. We have a reminder. We have the content for the Week 5, Day 1. It should say Day 1 content. The introduction to the argumentative essay, lecture and takeaways, and an online writing activity. It's ungraded, but if you would like to follow along with me, I think that it's extremely beneficial to anyone that is going to be writing this and needing that suggestion. We also have another reminder. So reminder number 1, if you have any questions or comments at this point, this is Week 5. If you have any questions, reach out to me. My in-person office hours, if you're local, is Mondays and Wednesdays, 9 to 12, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8 to 9 in the morning. But even if you have afternoon hours, as you would see fit, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. I can always create a video or phone conference with Teams. Okay, so this says the Week 5, Day 1 folder. We have the discussion board, just like I said. We have an online quiz, and then the journal, and then the due date. So review, you can always turn in work even past this due date up to 4 days late. I just deduct 25 points per each day. Failure to not submit something after 4 days results in a 0. Okay, so now we're going to be introduced to Essay 2, which is an introduction to the argumentative essay. It's our second essay. So our question is, what is an argumentative essay? An argumentative essay takes a stand on an issue. In this type of essay review, the writer attempts to persuade readers to understand and support their point of view by a topic and providing evidence. An argumentative essay states the thesis in the introduction, covers the thesis in the body, and provides a resolution or answer in the conclusion. This should be structured in a logical and clear, convincing manner. And here are 6 elements of a good argument. We have the thesis. It should be stated already within the work. Looking at our beautiful slides. We also have personal background. This could help you with describing your motive, your reason for stating why you agree or disagree. This also explains why the issue is important to the writer or reader. And continuing with elements of a good argument, we also have historical background. To effectively communicate with an argument, a writer should be able to provide the audience with context through resonating facts or underlying topics, a knowledge about the topic. Okay, we also have continuing elements of a good argument, the common ground. These are points that are related to the issue in which both sides can agree on. By identifying common ground, this helps the writer and reader establish a connection. We also look at definitions. Writers must define the technical terms that they use. If a word is only a word that only a few know, break it down for us. Simplify and consider your audience. If your audience may not know the word, oftentimes it becomes confusing for them to read. This is also a major problem found in all essays. Also consider the opposing thesis. A good writer knows when we should consider a different point of view. Consider what others think and be sure to point that out in the essay. Now, those were elements of a good argument. We can also consider different types of evidence that can be found. So evidence can be used as real life examples. You can pull in real life examples that have been observed, stats, numbers, graphs, percentages, authorities with credentials, analogies or comparisons, or hypothetical situations, whether imagined or created, to help structure your essay. We also have driving factors in an argumentative essay. We have the position, determine your stance, and stay consistent. Make a point to express it and provide evidence throughout. Evidence. Be sure to provide factual information. Consider this. If there's no proof, there's no evidence. Okay, so this is my online writing activity. It's completely ungraded. You don't have to use it. You can just follow along in this lecture slide. But I feel like this is also impertinent for many people that need to understand how a argumentative essay works. So for this activity, it's not for a grade. Likely on a sheet of paper, you would write yes or no. Yes on one side, no on the other side. This is also, if we were in person, I would be giving you the sheet that had yes or no and a sheet with the statements that follow. So as I read aloud the statements to follow, with pure discretion, authenticity, raise what side you would think you would be on. And the idea here is to formulate why you are for a topic or disagree, why you agree or disagree. And it's easy to list why you are for something or against something, but when you start having to write it out as reasons for your paragraphs, this is where our brains start clicking and saying, okay, I think I'm onto something. So for this first statement, if you have your piece of paper, you would raise it up and say yes or no. Education should be free for all. Consider the stance, consider the statement, consider who, in what area, yes or no. So this is easy. If you're raising your sheet and you say yes, I would simply ask you why. If you raise your sheet to say no, I would ask you why. Furthermore, I would also have a sheet of paper that says, okay, you said yes or no. List a couple of reasons on either one. This also asks you to say if you are truly for it or truly against it, and how deep does the discussion go. Okay, our next statement should say, or is, should gamers be considered athletes? So we would have our little sheet in the air and we would say yes or no. This also considers those that play esports. This also considers those that are in the competitive range, and should they be considered athletes, whereas should they be getting money, should they be getting recognition, all that good stuff. So if you raise your hand for yes, or your sheet for yes, consider why. If you raise it for no, consider why. And oftentimes our reasons are for yes are many, oftentimes our reasons for no are many, but then we also have to consider how we would write this as an essay. And the same token, statement number 3. hunting any animal should be banned globally. Notice the parentheses, any animal. It's not just for game, it's not legal or illegal animals, it's all animals. Yes or no? Yes, and you would list reasons, and those would help formulate your essay, or no. And those would be to formulate your essay, whether it's religion, whether it's politics, whether your outlook on life or your past. However, these formulate and these allow us to have points in our essay when we start building it. And this great writing activity also helps us as we start brainstorming for our essay. And reporting reminder number 2. Essay number 2 has plenty of days for you to complete it. It's not due anytime soon. So as we go forth, I'm pressing the escape button with that in mind of saying yes or no, of agreeing or disagreeing with a topic. Let me go ahead and open up the essay instructions, which should be available to you in the week 5, day 1 folder. And this is it. Okay, with the same token of yes or no. Okay, so this is essay 2, the argumentative essay instructions. For this assignment, you will write an argumentative thesis-driven essay in which you justify or argue against your topic. You're going to explore points and look at views that support your claim or stand on the topic. After doing so, you as a student will look at those points and invest in the writing process. So the essay structure here is to prevent those points. So these are the topics. You're only going to choose between one of these, nothing else outside of that. And you're only going to choose one to write over. So let's do the same thing. I'm going to simply read aloud one of these. If it's easier for you to figure out and narrow down which topic, that's great. And I'm simply going to choose it and write it, say it in the amount that you would write it. So just the same way I'm going to say out loud the topic, and you would consider if you were for it or against it, and then go from there. A well-read person is not necessarily a smart person. Your past should not define you. Is getting a college degree worth the cost? Should Shakespeare still be studied as part of the college curriculum? Do paparazzi have the right to pursue, stalk celebrities? All students should receive some form of governmental assistance. What are the drawbacks of using AI? Genetic engineering can help in the creation of designer babies. This just goes forth and says that medically we can actually change eye color, hair color, genetics, the structure of how a baby would be formed even before it is born. So you would consider many of these that I've listed, and you would consider if you are for them or against them. And then the rest of them. Social media is making humans feel lonely. Immigration policies are unfair to U.S. citizens. Should athletes be allowed to use steroids? Distribution of music should be free. Technology has created an idle society. Is internet censorship necessary? Okay, so you're only going to decide on one of these, choose one of these, and you're going to do the same thing, yes or no, throughout your entire essay. So your principal structures here is to first state your primary focus, give a fair representation of different ways that you would consider this, yes, no, however, and your essay should cover the topic that you are writing about and must have a central idea that governs the development of the essay. And it should be organized to where each part contributes to the central idea. Our purpose is to be able to break down that topic and then go into body paragraphs or parts that are considered. As we go through the revision process, whether the peer review is online individually or with other people, we also can consider that drafts are still work in progress, that it's not the final essay until it's turned in. And the requirements for this essay is just like we would normally have for an essay: Times New Roman size 12 font, double spaced, 1-inch margins, proper indented paragraphs, and the essay length is going into 2 pages, 2.5 pages, but no word count is specified. The proper heading on this essay in the left-hand corner is your name, first and last, the course name and section. The course name and section is right here. Integrated Reading and Writing 0302, and then the section is 60. My name, Professor Estrada, and the date. It could be the date that you begin this document. It could be the date that it's submitted. Just make sure there's a date on there. The audience and context for this essay is to consider the readers of their classroom and myself. You're informing them of the topic, whether they know about it or not, and giving them further elaboration. An overview of this is that you analyze the topic with strategies and be able to discuss them in relation to you. So our tips for this is the first thing to do is read and study the topic. Based on your understanding or opinions, understand your topic and be consistent with it. Break apart points on why you are for it or against it. Okay, and here's our important reminders. Essay 2 is due no later than Monday, March 9th, 11:59 p.m. Okay, and I did notice this, but it was too late to put this, but disregard this time. The essay needs to be turned in at that time. Failure to not turn in will automatically deduct 30 points off. Failure to not submit by the next day at 4 p.m. will result in a 0. I will not accept submissions past Tuesday, March 10th, the same day that the last possible day that you can turn it in by 4 p.m. as my grading book will close. As I also teach many other classes in person online, that is many essays coming my way that week. So my grading book closes March 10th by 4 p.m. It is also the last opportunity for you to turn in your essay even though it's late. Your final essay will just need to be the final essay. This is an essay that will need to be turned in as an electronic copy in Brightspace within the week 8 folder. You will only be uploading the essay to Brightspace. I will not accept email attachments or web links. It has to be submitted through its module for me to grade it. As well as, if I cannot view it, I cannot access it or grade it. You cannot use a late pass for this assignment. It is due Monday, March 9th. The grading book will close Tuesday, March 10th. My final grades ought to be posted for you for this class aiming for March 12th, but the official stipulation is grades are due for the Hill College Friday, March 13th. So I always give myself that amount of time to grade everything. I also have included on here that the final exam will open March 2nd through March 8th. The final exam is 2 sections. Final exam number 1, part 1, or final exam part 2. There's 2 sections. It covers all the material. It's available online. Like I said, part 1 will cover parts of speech, parts of a sentence, and essay structure. Part 2 is reading comprehension, stories, poems, and questions to follow. Ensure that you are allowed good internet connection. You're allowed 2 attempts for each section. It will not be made available after that time, and I will not reopen it. Because it's an online final, I also give you the 6 days to continue working it out your own. I do not know if the settings allow you to start, go back to it, freeze and unfreeze, or as soon as it starts, it gives you a whole 2 hours to complete 1 attempt. And then often mine, pay attention to the final exam. The computer automatically will have the generate an answer for you for multiple choice and true false. I have to go back and grade any manual responses that you put in. So whereas your final exam could be a 20 out of 100, if you responded manual responses, I have to go back in. Generally, that grade will go up higher. The criterion rubric for this essay is to analyze and write a thesis-driven essay, largely free of errors. And so this is my rubric for it. I'm going to be looking at selective details, argumentative context, the focus, the introduction and conclusion, the structure, and the mechanics. Okay, and I'm simply going to press the escape button so that way you can see the rest of these things. I have the argumentative essay sample outline. Now, again, this outline is simply for you to use in any which way. It doesn't mean that you don't have to use it if you don't want to. It just really helps out for someone that needs a visual aid to help them see what goes in every paragraph. So, introduction 1, introduce the topic. Why did you choose this topic and what is your stance on it? Why is it important to you? Place a thesis statement at the end of the paragraph. Body paragraph number 1, or reason 1, why you are for it or against it. Do you agree with the topic or disagree? And allow further explanation here. Use evidence, illustrations, or points to make your claim thorough. Continuing with your body paragraph or reason number 2, the same way, you're going to follow that same format. Are you for it or against it? Do you agree or disagree with that same topic? Further explanation. Is it a good one? Use evidence and illustrations or points to make your claim thorough. Reason number 3, why you are for or against the topic. Think of a counter argument or rebuttal. A support to back it up. Think of what your audience may think of. Do they agree or disagree? What is your claim or position? Use evidence or illustrations to make your points thorough. Use this to connect the focus points And is there any research that you have from that? Now, this is a standard essay. There's no need for extensive research or a works cited page, as we have not been introduced to it or research. This is simply you going in and writing about what you know. Okay, and I'm now going to press the escape button, and then I'm going to go into the assignments for this week, week 5, day 1. This is our discussion board number 4, and it says just like our activity in class, online in class this week or in person, the way that you said the yes or no from the lecture slides, this is also what I would like you to do here. So below our list of topics ranging from basic to advanced topics, I would like you to pick at least 3 from the post below and tell me if you are for them or against them. Then respond in your own post as to what that would look like. So these are topics. So these are even more topics that were not listed in the essay instructions, but also in the lecture slides. So these are good ones. So I'm listing these. I'm going to read these out loud here in a minute. But then this is the post. I'm going to simply write out my question, and I'm going to say if I'm for it or against it. But I'm also going to include a paragraph as to why I'm for it or against it. So if I put no, here is my no response. If I put yes, it's my no response. So I'm going to do this 3 times. Pick one of these, write it out in a post, put yes or no, and then put why you are for it or against it. And follow this for 3 of them. It doesn't have to be descriptive or expansive. You're just simply responding. And due to the nature of free speech or how a person may feel or oppose to it, I would simply like you to withhold from responding to people, so you only have to post yours. This is a free space, and I do understand that whether we are for it or against it or agree or disagree or find ourselves offended or agreeable to that person, we have to understand that we all come from different walks of life. So just simply make sure that step 1 is completed. We're going to make sure that we adhere to the due date. You can start a new thread. You can put however, you can format this however you want to. You can number, you can bullet, however you would like to. And I'm just simply posting this so that you can see that I started the discussion. Okay, so with these, you're simply going to choose 3. You can rewrite the question, or you can just put the topic and put yes or no. And if you are for the yes, write out a sentence why. If you are for no, write out a sentence why. And these are great ones. Esports should be equivalent to real sports in all institutions, such as getting money for jerseys, celebrating with parties, and being recognized. Should the use of cell phones be banned in all institutions, such as junior high, high school, and even college? Should parents be allowed to post pictures of their children on social media without their consent? Should the driving age be raised to prevent teen car accidents? Should schools remove artwork such as murals that some perceive as offensive? Should the U.S. implement a national firearm registry? Should the term limits be imposed on senators, representatives, or even the presidential cabinet? And if so, how long? Should the government fund research on embryonic stem cells for medical treatments? Should apps such as TikTok and Instagram ultimately worsen the well-being of teenagers? Religion, a force for good or evil in the world? Would the world be safer if we eliminated nuclear weapons? Should scientists bring back extinct animals? And if so, which ones? Should we ban aggressive sports like boxing and MMA? Is online learning as effective as in-person learning? Do violent video games contribute to real-life violence? Should the government require companies to disclose the environmental impact of their products? So again, you're writing out one of these 3. Choose any one of these 3. Write out the question if it's easier for you, followed by if you are for it or against it with a word, yes or no. And then put this, your answer. If you are for it, write out a couple of responses, your reason to your understanding. I wrote this. This is my suggestion. Should parents be allowed to post pictures of their children on social media? No. This is my response. As I'm not a parent, this is my understanding that until you can discuss with the child what social media is or the audience, I believe to wait until the child can tell you if they want the world to see them or have their own accounts. That's just a general response. If you are a parent and you disagree, feel free to write this and put yes. Okay? You don't have to be expansive. Like I said, just simply respond and just withhold from responding to everybody, because we all have freedom of speech here, so we are allowed to agree or disagree. So you're just writing your own response. Okay. We also have weekly prompt journal number 7. Open the response and make sure that you are replying within 4 to 6 sentences. And this is our response for prompt number 7. What is your favorite holiday? Describe the emotions, traditions, people, or reason why it's your favorite holiday. Discuss the plates of dishes or the activities in the day in regards to your favorite holiday. And in short, why is it special for you? My favorite holiday is Valentine's Day. And you don't see it because I'm behind the camera, but I'm actually wearing a headband with a bunch of hearts on it. And I have my Valentine's shirt on today. Okay? And so I'm going to start the thread for you so that you are seeing this. You can start with any title. You can put prompt number 7. You can write your name. You can write this in any format or font or color as long as I'm able to see it and it's legible. I'm going to post. That way Mrs. Strada started the weekly thread for you. We also have another quiz. I'm going to open up on this side so that you see the instructions for it. As a review, review each statement, paragraph, or content and answer accordingly. You're given 2 attempts. I grade the highest score after I enter your manual response grades. And then it just says that it closes February 22nd. So it does allow you extra days to consider submitting it late. I just go in after that window closes and I grade. Okay. And then we have week 5 lecture slides. We also have a discussion board number 5, an online quiz, and a journal. Okay. And then we have the due date for that. It follows the week 5. Okay. And I'm simply clicking on these. So we have the same things listed here are listed here. To go to them, you have to click on them. So it is available for you. You're just waiting on these lecture slides. So these are my beautiful slides for week 5, day 2. I like that little cover slide. Okay. The to-do list, week 5, day 2. We have a recap of week 5, day 1, and the online content. Week 5, day 2 online folder has the lecture slides, the same discussion post that you see, quiz 5, and the journal and the content. Okay. And then it says, after viewing the online content, I'm now going to end the online lecture early. This is a great opportunity for you to ask questions, review anything, or begin online work. Feel free to reach out to me via conference or email. But if you have any questions, this is a good week to check in with me. As always, look to the recap announcements, incoming emails, or regarding due dates. As always, I'm here to help you succeed. That's what it generally is for. Okay, so let's look into our week 5, day 2 content for assignments. We have discussion board number 5, analyzing a news article. For this discussion board, you will be asked to read an article and evaluate its source and writing. Step 1, finding a news article. Using any social media platform, Google or print form, pick out the first news article that you see. Okay, since this post is somewhat lengthy, you have to write complete sentences for each question unless your instructions require it. So, example, go to the search bar on Google and the first thing that you read as a post or a story, let's answer questions about it. If it's a Facebook story covering a school, or if it's something that you saw from Instagram and it was leading up to another website, hey, news is still news. The first thing that I read. Answering questions. What is the headline or the title? Who is the author or writer? What is the source? Is it a book? Is it a website, a Facebook ad? What is it? Is the source reliable? How do you know? Meaning, does it come from an academic, professional, or medical point of view? Who is the intended audience? Do you know if there's a specific age group or gender? What is the appeal to the article? For what type of person? See, I even have a typo right here, so I have to go back and change that. See, Mrs. Shaw does make mistakes, and I owned up to them. The appeal hook. What is the article appeal to certain readers? Lead. How does the lead or content of the article make the reader want to keep reading? Do you have any doubts about this story? Why or why not? Is the story written to inform, to entertain, or persuade? What makes you think so? And would you consider the story important or not? You don't need to reply to other people, but the 2 most interesting stories that anyone posts within this class, I will award you up to 6 points towards your unit of mechanics exam. So find a good story for me to read. And the top 2 will be given bonus points towards your unit of mechanic online exam. Okay, and then here is the post. We can start a new thread. You have to enter a title. It can be your name. It can be the discussion board number. We can start entering a response. It could be in any font, color, as long as we're able to read it. Okay, and I'm closing that out. I will go back and change that typo for you. We have quiz 5. This quiz, you're seeing just the instructions on the instructor's side. Read each statement, paragraph, and answer accordingly. You get 2 attempts. It's timed out after 30 minutes, but I do grade the highest attempt. But your attempts vary after you put in manual responses. So if the computer automatically generates from multiple choice and true false, understand that I have to go back in and grade your manual responses. Okay, due dates right there. I'm simply closing it. And then we have another weekly response. I'm going to go ahead and open the journal for you. Weekly response journal number 8. What are some of your favorite toys when you were little? Do you still enjoy playing with them? Describe them if you would like to, or include a picture if you have it or not to. If you want to, you're more than welcome to choose yes or no. And what makes this toy special or significant? Is it still around or not produced anymore? A little background on this. I have 2 younger sisters and 2 older brothers, and we're all in our 30s now, so we're all of age. All right, and my sister, for her past birthday this December, a couple months ago, actually, there's a toy that's no longer produced. For her birthday, I tracked one down on eBay, and you can't find it anywhere. It's called Brain Warp. You can't find it anywhere. If you find it, it's just missing parts or doesn't work. I found a working one on eBay, and I surprised her with it. And this is something that we found when we were like 8 or 9 years old. We're a couple of years apart. And she was just stunned that I tracked down a toy that's no longer found or produced. And this was a toy that I don't remember for me, but I remember for her. And the look on her face said it all. You know, this is our 8-year-old self reliving this toy again. And all I remember is just seeing her light up, finding a toy that made it so special for her. And she has it. I don't know if we tested out if it works or not, but she has it on her in her room, and it's like a little space in the corner, like a little shrine or something. But it's just a toy that I tracked down for her, and I was able to make her day. And it was just something that I remember. I mean, this was like 20 plus years ago. I don't know how I remember the name or the toy, but if you have a picture of it, feel free to include it for me. I would love to see what toys we played with when we were little. And as this is an online class, we don't know how old everyone is. You wouldn't know how old I am. So it'd be interesting to see if it's a toy made from the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, 2010s, 2020s, but it's a toy that just brings you joy. And because so many of us vary in our age, it's interesting to see if it's a toy that's no longer produced, or a toy that we don't remember, or a toy that everybody had growing up. Bring me all the Furbies, bring me all the Pokemon cards, however you want to. And we have a new thread. And just to kind of give away my age, some of the toys that I had growing up were obviously Barbies. I was really into jump rope at that time, the Skip-Its, the Bop-Its, stuff like that. I was born in the 1990s, so it was just a toy just to have. And if it's a toy that you still have, I'd love to see pictures. But let's go back into the folder. We have the word count link. Again, the word count link is just to help you with your discussion boards. I've had people say that they've had trouble with saving the discussion boards. They'll write it in the actual format and it doesn't save. So just to help you, if you want to save your discussion post in a Word doc or a Google Doc, and then just copy and paste it to wherever that format is, feel free to do so. I wouldn't want you to write out your whole discussion board and then it not save or something happens. But this is just to always go back, and if you have it ready, it'll count your words for you. So that way you can keep that momentum. Okay? Week 5, part 1, week 5, part 2. As always, they always will tell you the due date based off of the syllabus, but also the due date that comes after turning in stuff late. And at this point, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.